I thought my husband was cheating with a coworker. Turns out it was my mom. The betrayal tasted like copper pennies in my mouth when I saw Mom's car in our driveway at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday. I'd driven home early from work with a migraine, expecting an empty house. Instead, I found her shoes next to David's by the door, heard voices upstairs, and felt my world tilt sideways. I'd been spiraling for weeks, convinced David was having an affair with his 25-year-old project manager, Sarah. The late nights, the sudden interest in cologne, the way he'd started working out again after 8 years of marriage. Classic signs, right? I'd even hired a private investigator, spent $3,000 I didn't have, and gotten photos of David leaving restaurants and hotels. But never with Sarah. Always alone. The pie said maybe I was paranoid. Maybe I needed therapy. Instead, I decided to get even. Mom had been my cheerleader through it all. "You deserve better than a man who doesn't appreciate you," she'd say over wine at her place while David worked late. "You're still young, still beautiful. Don't waste your prime years on someone who takes you for granted." She'd introduced me to Marcus, her neighbor's divorced son. "Just coffee," she insisted. "What David doesn't know won't hurt him." Coffee became lunch. Lunch became drinks. Drinks became me in Marcus's car in a parking garage, telling myself this was justice. That David drove me to this. That I was taking back my power. The guilt lived in my chest like a tumor, growing every time I looked at our wedding photos or when David would kiss my forehead and ask about my day. Our kids, Emma and Jake, 6 and 8, would climb into bed with us Sunday mornings, and I'd feel like a stranger in my own life. But Mom kept reinforcing it. "You're glowing," she'd say. "This is good for you. You needed this." I believed her because I needed to believe someone understood my pain. 3 months of lies. 3 months of elaborate stories about working late, girls' nights, grocery runs that took 4 hours. 3 months of Marcus telling me I was wasted on David, that I deserved a man who worshipped me. 3 months of my mother nodding along, encouraging every betrayal. Until I climbed those stairs and heard her voice coming from my bedroom. Not talking. Moaning. I stood outside my own bedroom door and listened to my husband of 8 years having sex with my mother. The woman who had been my confidant, my supporter, my partner in justifying my own affair. The sounds were unmistakable, intimate, familiar. This wasn't their first time. When I pushed the door open, they didn't even stop immediately. David saw me first, his face going white, but Mom looked me dead in the eye and smiled before rolling off him. "How long?" I whispered. 2 years, Mom said, sitting up, not bothering to cover herself. "Since Emma's birthday party. You remember, when you spent the whole night on your phone, ignoring everyone." David was scrambling for his clothes, stammering apologies, but I wasn't listening to him. I was staring at my mother, understanding flooding through me like ice water. "The advice. Marcus. All of it?" She shrugged. "I needed you distracted. And you were so eager to believe David was cheating, so ready to hurt him back. Made everything easier." That's when David stopped apologizing. "What does she mean, hurt me back?" The silence stretched between us like a chasm. In that moment, we all understood that everything we built, everything we pretended to be, was over. David filed for divorce the next morning. Not separation. Not counseling. Divorce, with a request for full custody and a restraining order against both my mother and me. His lawyer had photos of me with Marcus within 48 hours, time-stamped and geotagged. The private investigator I hired had been working for David all along. My own children looked at me like I was a stranger when the family court mediator explained why Daddy would have primary custody. Emma asked if I still loved her. Jake just stopped talking to me altogether. I got every other weekend and Wednesday dinners at Chuck E. Cheese, supervised for the first 6 months because David's lawyer painted me as unstable. Mom had vanished. Blocked my number, moved out of her house, left no forwarding address. David's lawyer said she'd contacted them about testifying against me in custody hearings if I fought him. My own mother, willing to destroy me in court to protect herself. The story spread through our small town like wildfire. PTA moms who used to invite me to book club crossed the street when they saw me coming. My sister stopped returning my calls. My job at the dental office became unbearable when patients started requesting different hygienists. I'd overhear whispers in the break room. Can you imagine? Her own mother? While the kids were in the house? Marcus ghosted me the day the divorce papers were served. Turned out he was married too, just separated, and his wife was threatening to take their kids if he kept seeing that psycho who slept around while her husband was screwing her mom. Even my revenge affair was a lie. I moved into a studio apartment across town, the only place that would rent to me after David got the house, the cars, and most of our assets. The affair counted as adultery in our state. I'd voided the prenup. My lawyer said I was lucky to get anything at all. Emma's birthday party happened without me this year. I saw the photos on Facebook before David blocked me there too. All our mutual friends, all the couples we used to have dinner with, celebrating my daughter's 7th birthday like I'd never existed. Mom wasn't there either, but somehow that felt worse. At least I had an excuse for my absence. The kids visit less now. Emma cries when I drop her off, but she cries harder when she has to come with me. Jake told his court-appointed therapist that home doesn't feel like home when I'm there. David remarried last month, a woman from his office who sends me photos of my children calling her mom. I drive by our old house sometimes, see the garden I planted blooming without me, the swing set where I taught Emma to pump her legs, the kitchen window where I used to watch for David's headlights. New curtains hang there now, chosen by hands that never knew how the morning light used to dance across our breakfast table. Last week, I got a card with no return address. Inside, Mom had written, "You were always too trusting. That was your problem." No apology, no explanation, just one final twist of the knife she'd been turning for 3 years. I thought I was playing chess, but I was just another piece on someone else's board. Now I'm 32 years old, alone in a 400-square-foot apartment, missing every school play and soccer game that matters, while my children learn to love the woman who replaced me. The woman I made room for with my own terrible choices. Sometimes I wonder if this was always Mom's plan, if she saw something in David before I did, or if she just couldn't stand watching me have something she wanted. But mostly I try not to think about it at all, because the answer doesn't change anything. I handed her the match and showed her where to light the fire. The hardest part isn't losing David, or even losing my kids. It's knowing that I was never the victim I thought I was, never the wronged wife fighting for justice. I was just a fool who betrayed everyone who loved me because I was too proud to ask why my marriage felt broken and too weak to fix it without breaking everything else first.